Hey guys, welcome to today's vlog. So I'm going to be doing a book review on a book I recently finished reading, which I thought was so incredibly valuable. I really wanted to share it with you guys. It's called The Big Leap and it's by Gay Hendricks. So I've made some different annotations in the book. I've highlighted a few really important things I wanted to comment on. So I hope you guys enjoy this book review. I know I haven't done a review for a couple of months because I was traveling and I just haven't had time to get around to it. But I finally found an afternoon to set aside time to review a bunch of different books. So I'm gonna be posting up quite a few book reviews in the coming weeks. So get excited for that. But yeah, if you've read this book before, then please let me know in the comments down below. And let's just get straight into the review. Okay, so starting off, I wanted to just give a general outline of what this book is about. So the author talks about this idea of upper limiting ourselves. This idea that we are unable to achieve our full level of success or rise to our genius level, as the author calls it, because we are sabotaging our own success. And this is something that we do subconsciously that we are not necessarily aware of on a day-to-day basis. But for example, it's about having these negative thoughts come into our mind. These thoughts that make us feel like we're not worthy of success or we're not capable of success, and not wanting to take these risks in order to achieve what it is that we really want out of our life. And I found this book very interesting because it made me aware of different patterns that I have in my own behavior and thoughts that genuinely do, in fact, upper limit myself. So unintentionally, there are things that I will think about or I will say to myself or I will feel, and as a result, I don't see the success that I would like to in certain areas of my life. And it's not just for work, it's about relationships, work, health, it's every aspect of your life. So I wanted to go through a couple of things that the author talks about and just share some of my favorite parts of the book. So to start off, the author talks about this one problem that is always holding us back from achieving our full potential and refers to that as the upper limit problem. And then it goes on to talk about how when you understand this one problem and how to actually solve it, then you can do far more and increase your financial worth, your happiness in your relationships, your health, everything that you want out of life will prosper. And this problem is really simplified down to this idea that when things are going well, somehow we subconsciously sabotage it because we don't feel that we are worthy or capable of achieving this level of success or joy or happiness or prosperity. So something that I highlighted was the author wrote, the pattern was simple. Enjoy a period of feeling really good, then do something to mess it up. And then he goes into more detail and says that he realizes that we're only recently evolving with this ability to let ourselves feel good and have things go well for a significant period of time. So it's almost like up until very recently, we always felt like we had to be on guard. We always felt like there was something after us, that we had to stay in this survival mode. And now the reality is that we can have these prolonged periods of feeling good and happy, and there's no reason to think that just because we've had an amazing week that it's not going to last for much longer. That's all that subconscious sabotaging that's going on. And then once you identify these patterns that we have in our behavior to sabotage, he talks about the zone of genius. So the zone of genius is where we're not limiting ourselves, we are doing our absolute best, we're working with passion, we're striving for success, and we don't let anything sabotage our progress. And there are a lot of different case stories that the author goes on to discuss in more detail in this book. So for example, he talks about different CEOs that were performing really well, but then they sort of seem to just have their level of success capped at a certain point. And then there are other cases where they've realized what it is that's been holding them back, and they went from this level of success to a much, much greater level of success. So it's really all about figuring out how we're getting in our own way and then allowing ourselves to have whatever level of success in life it is that our heart desires. And then in reference to this zone of genius, the book also goes into more detail about how when we are in our zone of genius, it's when we're being our absolute authentic selves. We're being very true to ourselves. We're focusing on our passions, our gifts, our creative gifts, and that is when we can achieve our greatest success and also find that sense of purpose in everything that we do and that pure joy. And so one thing I highlighted here was the author wrote, the goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal, it's to find and fully use our own gifts. And I really found that just really resonated with me. And very much relating to the sort of work that I do, that I want to be creative, that I want to share my wisdom and inspire and motivate people online and help others. And I'm doing it my way. I'm not doing it because other people have told me to, or I feel like I should, or I want to gain a certain level of financial success. It's purely out of joy. And so I feel like this is when I work within my zone of genius. And as you get through the book, it's still quite early on in the book, but as you get through it, there are different affirmations that you can use to help train your mind to think more positively. And I guess that's actually the point of this book, is to keep a positive mindset, to not allow, or to train your mind, to constantly train your mind and to discipline your mind to not venture into this realm of negative thinking, but actually to focus on the positive and appreciate and be grateful for what you currently have. And the more that you keep this positive mindset, the more that things will flow to you, and the more that things will happen that are within your best interests. And there was one story, I can't find what page it's on, but I remember it very clearly. So this is a really good example of how someone upper limited themselves and they just were not able to get past this barrier in order to really enjoy this aspect of their life and find success or create success. So there's one client that the author sees, and as a child, this man was a very, very talented pianist. So when he was about 9 years old, his parents bought him a piano, and he was very, very gifted. But the issue was that the year before he received that piano for his birthday from his parents, his sister was actually very unwell and she passed away. And so the mother had said when she gave the piano to him that they would never have been able to afford giving him this piano if his sister had still been alive. And she didn't mean to make him feel guilty or unworthy of that gift, but what she was just trying to say is if she had 2 kids, it would have been more expensive and they may not have had the money to buy these sort of luxury gifts because they've got other bills to pay and they've got other expenses because there are 2 kids. So there are 2 mouths to feed and 2 kids to send to school and 2 kids to, pay for healthcare. So this poor guy grew up subconsciously not feeling worthy of that piano, and he didn't feel like he could fully appreciate his gift and talent to be a pianist. So he was never really fully able to relish in his talents, and so he didn't really find that sense of joy, and he wasn't seeing the success that he should have been with his career as a pianist. So when he came to see the author and talked about this problem, it was clear that there was this underlying feeling of, I am not worthy, I am not good enough, I don't deserve this success that comes from my talent of being a pianist. And that is how he upper limited himself. And so as you get through the book, there's one thing I wanted to share with you guys, which was a mantra, and it's your ultimate success mantra. So this is all about how to overcome your upper limiting symptoms and also how to achieve success in life. So it says, I expand in abundance, success, and love every day as I inspire those around me to do the same. And the more that you say that to yourself over and over again, you're blocking out all of those negative thoughts and you're encouraging this light to come into your life. You're encouraging yourself to create and build a life that you want and to prosper in. And so the last thing I wanted to share with you in the book, it's in chapter 7. It talks about how instead of focusing on the past, we need to increase our tolerance for things going well in our lives now. And that's the whole point. It's about being mindful, being present, and focusing on all of the wonderful things happening in our lives, feeling deserving of them, and then knowing that as we focus our intention on those sort of things and block out those negative thought patterns, that mean voice inside of your head. I know one author calls it your mean girl. I know that other people call it the haters, that self-doubt. When we block that out, we're able to encourage more of what we want in our lives to be created, and we bring that into our lives on a daily basis. So I really recommend that you do check out The Big Leap. It is a fantastic book. I read it within maybe a day and a half. When I find a book I really love and can't put it down, I just feel like I inhale the wisdom and then I just want to let it out and share it with all of you guys, because I really did find a lot of inspiration, and also it gave me a better understanding of myself and my own tendencies. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. Like I said, if you've read it before, comment down below, and yeah, you can check it out. I just bought it at my local bookstore. I think you can get it online as well, and I'm pretty sure it is available worldwide. So do check it out. And comment down below what books you want me to review and others that you want me to read as well, because I love getting your suggestions. If there's an awesome book that's really inspired you guys lately, then yeah, let me know, I'll check it out. Alright, I'm going to end the vlog here, but I hope you enjoyed this book review, and until next time, have a beautiful day, guys. Mwah. Bye!